Alright, we're live. Tonight we'll talk about the I gotta turn down the audio, otherwise I hear myself looping. I'm going to share this on Twitter. I got my gifts from BMW today. It's kind of nice. Yeah. I can get a good close-up shot of this. I got this. This is my BMW gift today. It's kind of cool. I should change the image icon of the live stream to this. Actually looks really cool. Needs a good little anamorphic flare though. Anyway, I got this sent to me because of the Love What You Do video thing, and it's a pretty cool little model card. That, and I got a hat sent from Germany today. If I can pop up on the hood, it's actually, you can actually see stickers inside there of the hood. I don't have a Mini. My sister has a Mini, but hey, I'll take it. It's still cool. The steering wheel's hooked up. It even came with like luggage for the back, so it's actually a cool little model. I would have liked having a model of my actual car that I had from BMW, but this works. Don't want to scratch it. These things are expensive too. I'll post the bullets and see if people know that I'm live. I know that one person's watching me, but we need to get a few more in here before we start talking about hacks and such. Looks good. That was 3, it should cut down to 2. Should set up a little zone thing for this to sit. This is the old series? Yeah, this is the R53 for the R56, I believe. So it's a lighter weight Mini. Because now I don't think the headlights pop up with the hood. Anyway, we're just waiting for people to show up so we can start our little chat. The seats fold down, which is absolutely insane to me. And all sorts of fun. I didn't pay for this, of course, if you're just joining me. I got this for free from BMW. It's got like padding, it's got like carpet in the back for the, but it came with luggage. It actually came with like these little leather luggage things that go in there. Well, it's a cool little gift for just letting them use some of the footage I took of my old Z4. Yeah, you can put down the seats and put it back up. It's got seat belts and I don't know. I think it's cool. Obviously, you all don't think it's cool because you left, but where am I going to set it? I'm going to set it right up here. It's a great little... Oh, is it going to roll off my speaker? Don't roll. It needs lights or something. That looks good up there. I like that. I like my little mini. It should have some permanent light behind it that flares into the camera. I want to see who else is live so I know why people aren't watching. And if you are watching, post a comment or a text message in the thing so we can... So at least I can see. youtube.com/live. I'm surprised there isn't a way to okay, I posted it as a bulletin. We'll see what happens. If you just saw, I posted a video with... Did that just scroll on its own, or did that scroll there? I just posted a video with the hacked GH1 at 100 megabits versus the GH2. Maybe we want to make this a little wider works. It's fine. Let me check and make sure that we're still in focus. It looks like we're in focus. No, we can do a little better on the focus. I can hit the focus a teeny bit better. There, that's a little better. Hello, person that just joined us. If y'all got a camera question or ask a question about the video I just posted with the new update for... Well, it's not an update, but it was a patch posted on DVX User last night to allow 100 megabit recording, close to like 90 megabit with the hacked GH1. Now's the time to post a roo. Some music. Nope, you're all left already. This is like the slowest people have been to showing up to a live broadcast, I think. So if you are watching this right now, obviously I can't answer your questions live because you're not here. And if you are watching this and hearing this, you're watching the pre-recorded version on the second channel. So I'm just going to cruise around waiting here for something marvelous to happen. Like a boss. Like a boss, like a boss. And no, it all looks good. I think our little setup here looks good. So we'll keep it. MP4 podcast. Someone started following me on Twitter right after I posted. Oh, I love Michaela. Could that be the one person watching right now? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe, maybe not. Right after I'm posting my thing, saying I'm live on the interwebs. Alright, I've got a person in here. Hello, person watching. Tonight's the night about talking about the new patch on DVX users. Let me put it in here. I'm going to put in the 100 megabits latitude patch. That's what I use, that's what my footage is. I'll put in a clip link to my channel with my video comparing the two, so you can watch that and take a look at it. Interesting. Branding box, moderator, no. Other channels left us on that. Interesting, interesting, interesting. No, it didn't. Give me a second and I'll have it. Okay, iPatch Entertainment. Where's my latest video? Date added. It'll scroll down. I've got so many videos on this page that it's almost impossible to find stuff myself. I don't know how anybody else finds anything that I post. No, that's not what we want. Wow, I got ads for turtleneck and chain. That's pretty awesome. That's like the best ad I've seen for a while. Now, if that's messed up, I just hit refresh info. Okay, so now if you look on show info below, you can find out. Another person watching. Hello out there. I should put more info. While we're doing that, I'm going to update the, while we're waiting, I'm going to update our channel icon thingy. So I go to live events. Come on, come on, come on. Might as well use the same icon I used before. With the Tommy gun with smoke. Come on, come on. Nope, wrong one. Video settings. Upload thumbnail, choose file. I want to use for tube mobile. Save changes. Bam! You think you know better? But the quiet boy compared to me. Quiet boy. But the quiet boy compared to me. Quiet boy. Quiet boy. Oop. Oop, 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 oop. Oh, cool. We've got Natash2345. You're the second person that said Google turns your searches into the government. Google is bad. You're the second person that's told me that in the past couple of days. Maybe you're the same person under a different account. Well, Google pays a lot of my bills and they send me all checks every month, so to me Google is king. I trust Google more than the government. Well, I think everyone would say that. It's Torkel. So that makes me a sellout, I guess. I guess everyone's a sellout for something. pretty much the last thing I worry about in this world is what Google will do to me. Not only Google has that, Google has my location at all times. They have the email. They have all my information pretty much. I mean, they have my social security number, where I live, my address, and it doesn't really bother me. The GH2 looked so much better than the hack GH1. How is that good? Because I'm basically a Google employee here on YouTube. How is that good? It doesn't bother me. No, Google isn't going to do anything with my information. There isn't some giant conspiracy that's going to get you in. What are they going to do? What if they did turn over your searches to the government, which they don't do just out of nothing? What are they going to find from it? I don't have anything bad in my searches. Even searches for guns aren't going to be anything bad. Do I particularly like that? No, if it were true, but there isn't like a person in the government. Can you imagine the amount of manpower it would take if someone was trying to search through 300 million people on the internet every day and the stuff that they're searching through? I mean, that would be terabytes of data, impossible to go through. Anyway, the GH2 looks so much better than the hack GH1, but you have to say in that last clip that I uploaded, it was closer than it's ever been before. The GH2 does look better, but the hack GH1 in that clip looks pretty amazingly good for what it is. That's the closest I've ever had it come to a GH2. And that's showing the strength of the GH1 there, because if we go in low light, the GH1 gets really, really cranky. Once you get, above 800 ISO, you start getting banding problems if you're underexposed and all sorts of different stuffs. Operation Metal Gear. Seriously, if you want to worry about something, I would worry about that Blackwater guy that wants to be big boss in the Middle East, and he's starting his own military, basically his own private military company in the Middle East, his own mercenary company, kind of like Outer Heaven. That's kind of like my dream job, If I could do anything, if I could have my dream job, I would be an international mercenary and international gun dealer. That would be pretty awesome. Kind of like Lord of War. That would be awesome. Natas2345 says, I'm a libertarian. Well, I'm fairly close to that sort of idea as well, in terms of political things that fit me. I would say that's close. I don't really care what people do. I don't think it's the government's job to mandate and control people in a lot of different ways like that. But see, in a lot of ways, people wouldn't agree with what I say. Now, since we've got 5 people watching now, and people could really hate me if I did a bunch of this online, I would pretty much unban everything and try it out and see what happens. I think it would be kind of cool to see what would happen to Andrew Jackson was the only president that had the idea to kill off the Federal Reserve. I wonder what would happen if we were to find a way to implement that without crashing the economy, taking away the power of banking. But Torkel says, I think drugs should be legal for sure. See, I will do that. Tell you what, you can have all drugs legal that you want if I can have all guns legal, everything guns legal, because that's the only thing I care about. I don't really have any drug cares or concerns, and I think people that get really and truly addicted to drugs, the problem takes care of itself. I don't think it's the government's job or man's job to watch over other men and tell them what they can and can't do with their own bodies. So I don't care. People will kill themselves. You can't really stop that. People will basically do what they want. What I want is access to all the cool guns that have been banned or under tax stamp class 3 stuff. So there you go, Torkel. If I were president, I would give you your any and all drugs that you want, as long as I can have any and all weapons that I want. Yeah, okay, even if you don't do drugs before that, yeah, I really don't care. I don't think it would, I'm not sure it would reduce crime. It would be worth trying just for the heck of it, because obviously fighting against drugs doesn't do a whole lot of good. Obviously the war on drugs costs a lot of money. So, yeah, prostitution falls under that same thing, I guess. I mean, who cares what people do? That's not really a government mandated thing, unless someone's going around trying to infect people on purpose. Then that would be, as long as you don't infringe, you can do whatever you want as long as it doesn't infringe on the rights of others. And I wouldn't charge people or ban people from things before they even do something, such as I would probably uncap speed limits on highways, because that, or I would institute higher levels of driver's licenses. But and as far as the whole marriage thing goes, marriage isn't an institution of the government anyway. I don't think the government should have any backing in that. I don't care what people do together. I think that what the government should recognize possibly is civil unions if people are together, but marriage is basically a religious idea to begin with, so marriage shouldn't even be something that the government deals with. In fact, I don't think taxes should have to deal with whether or not two people are together anyway. So I really don't care what people do, honestly. I've been like, people have tried to sting me. I've had those kids come up to me and ask me to go buy them alcohol and stuff. That's scary stuff. I mean, obviously it has to be a sting when like in the middle of a parking lot, a 13-year-old comes up to you, hey, can you go and buy me some alcohol? And they're rehearsing it from a script. That's scary. I mean, I don't care if in other countries kids drink early. I mean, I don't care if you drink alcohol or whatnot. How many people we got watching? We've got 3 people watching now. And we totally went into an I don't like getting into religion, because religion gets into a lot of things with especially here on YouTube. Getting into religion is based a lot on most people for feelings and whatnot. So getting into what people feel, and then it just makes a big giant mess of stuff. So that I try to stay out of political stuff and religion as well. There's no good starting point for even arguing religion. I just don't do it. Yeah, let's talk cameras. MP4 Podcast sent me some cool stuff. I haven't downloaded it yet, but MP4 Podcast sent me a app that's in the App Store. I don't remember my password for the App Store right this second. There is a program now that will let you lock in and let you shoot at 24p on an iPhone 4, which is the only phone that I know that will give you manual control at 24p. Actually, it's a variable frame rates, 1 to 25 frames per second and 30 frames a second on an iPhone 4. So that is very cool. Later on, I'll download that. I'll set up the thing and download that. It's called Filmic Pro. Okay, Torkel asks, oh yeah, I've been wanting to ask you, why is 24 frames desired? Wouldn't it be less smooth than 30 and 60? I don't get it. 24 frames per second, if you look probably on Wikipedia, it will say that was the minimum required for sustained motion. It isn't the minimum required for sustained motion for you to see motion in motion. That would be, I think, around 18 frames a second. Well, sometimes even lower, 15 will even work, but the reason for 24p, it has a certain aesthetic quality that your eye itself, when you're looking at something and you're watching something refresh, you can see spots that only a little. Every time you look at something, you're not getting like a full frame. Your brain isn't getting a full frame. You're seeing parts, and parts are updating at a time depending on where you're looking or what's happening. But as a whole, it's somewhere, your eye refreshes probably somewhere around 24 frames a second if you're seeing a full image at a time. Now in spots, if you're playing like a frame FPS or something, the human eye can, well, the human brain, because it's not the eye doing the processing, it's the brain can see somewhere up, changes up to over 100 frames a second. But as a whole, if you're updating a frame, it's somewhere closer to 24. So when you're like on a train watching something out the window and you're watching something move by, the motion that happens depending on the light of day and whatnot, that sort of aesthetic feeling that you get in maybe like a late afternoon with the way that your eye refreshes and the motion blur that's captured by the size of your eye is probably somewhere close to the aesthetic of 24 frames a second with a 180 degree shutter. And that's why when you're in a theater, in a darkened theater, a 24 frame per second film that's shown to you, which is usually shown 2 frames at once, it's actually shown, or 3 frames at once. Sometimes when you go to the theater, you'll actually be watching 72 frames a second. It's just 3 of the same frame. Anyway, what your brain does is it interpolates between the frames and it fills in some of that motion. And that's kind of what gives that aesthetic. So since I think the 1920s or so, we've had it standardized for cinema 24 frames a second. So other frame rates, 60i is sort of the soap opera, the classic soap opera frame rate, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with other frame rates. It's just the typical film frame rate is 24 frames per second, and it probably will stay that for as long as, well, forever. Now with 3D, 24 frames a second it becomes a problem, especially if 2 eyes are seeing 2 different things at the same time. At 24p, you start getting the flickering. So I can see where 48 becomes better for that, specifically just for 3D. I haven't seen a 3D 48 frames per second broadcast, but I don't know how it would feel in a theater. But let's say James Cameron's new movie shot at 48 frames per second. If you go watch it in 2D, you're just going to be watching it in 24. What they'll do is they'll just drop every other frame. So, and on Blu-ray really, it doesn't support anything, I think, above, well, it might support 1080 60, but I don't think anything's been shown in that or released in that, but it'll be in 1080-24. There's no standard broadcast right now for 1080p 40 frames per second. The TAS 2345. You know, I would love to be your friend, but you don't have the balls to say your opinion. There's no reason for controversy. I mean, there's plenty of other people that love to fight and argue on YouTube. I am more here for reflection on cameras and other technology purposes. And at the same time, you also have to be careful, because I work in a field that is guarded in its own politics in a way. So you don't want to get way too far out there unless you have a lot of power yourself. That, obviously, being here on YouTube broadcasting, I don't have a huge amount of power to just say what I think. Even saying what he thought, as crazy as it might be, Trump is now, in his way, blacklisted himself by saying what he thought. It could affect his ratings. It could affect getting shows produced in the future. So, for him to come out with all that stuff and then rebut on it, even running for president, he's going to probably regret that for quite a while, becoming the butt of jokes. Yes, this is really live. But I don't care what I really don't care what other people think. Torkel's question is the same concept of using 50mm lens, trying to capture what the human eye sees. Sort of the same idea. Yeah, 50mm lens is similar to what your eye does as well. There is nostalgia in it, in 24p since the 1920s as well. Domkey803, have you tried the Nocton 25mm for micro four thirds? No, I cannot get one. Well, actually now I've spent money that I would have spent on that on something else, but I would like to have one of those. I'm going to look up the Sony HCR MC50U, whatever that is. Sony. B&H has it. Looks like it has. Does it have an XLR input? Okay, recording rate, it does 24 megabits, 1060i. Okay, the thing that I don't like about it so far, what size is the sensor? It has a fairly large sensor, a 1.1, almost a 1/2 inch sensor. So that's a huge sensor. I don't know why I'm starting to sound Canadian. About. It only shoots 1080 60i. Other than that, input and output. Microphone. No, it doesn't. It just has a big thing. So no XLR input. I'm sure it's a great little camera. It should be good in low light as well. It's a huge sensor compared to most of those little cameras. I just wish it shot some kind of progressive format. Unless you know something I don't know. Rio and Ashley, I like my 35mm better than my 50mm. 35mm lens depends on the size of the sensor, how you view them. I like both. I always have a 35. I've got my 35 right here and a 50. Both very useful. Hi, X-Synthetic 23. Thanks, Donkey. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know if I am. I love you, man. I hope all the best for you. Thanks, Natash2345. Sorry that we couldn't get into a more in-depth discussion. Why you have your glasses on? Because it's bright in here. Like every live night. It's bright. Okay. I don't like mispronouncing stuff. It bothers me. Do I have one eye? Hold on, where's the eye patch? Sometimes. Just like Captain Kirk. Kurt, not Captain Kirk, Captain Kurt. Yeah, that's fun turning the camera. Almost pulled the yes, Snake Plissken. There, anything you want to know my views on anything, you can ask Snake Plissken, and Snake Plissken will have the answer. All the things you need to know in life, you can get from Snake Plissken. I just wish that I had the abilities of Snake Plissken. See, never surfed before? Why not try on a tidal wave? Never played basketball before? Well then, beat everyone else and beat everyone's record. Always be perfect the first time at doing something without ever having to practice or know. I'm new to your channel. Do you talk much about Nikon or just Panasonic? I'll talk about Nikon. I talk about Nikon a lot. I've got all Nikon lenses everywhere. So yeah, I do talk about Nikon. As far as their current DSLRs, I don't like them for shooting video. I spent a good amount of time with the D7000, which is the only close to being useful DSLR for video. Most of the time we just talk about DSLRs for video. So until Nikon actually has full manual controls in video mode, then it's not relevant. Why am I losing words? So, yeah. The thing about D7000, to switch f-stop, unless you've got AI lens or pre-AI lens, you have to come out of live view to change the f-stop on an electronic lens, and that's unacceptable for any type of video DSLR. What is this channel about? This channel sometimes has short films, a lot of camera information, sometimes impressions and stuff. So there's like 240 vids below on this channel. Some of them good, some of them bad. Maybe a couple of excellent ones, but probably not. Have you played around with the AF100 and how does it compare to the GH2? The AF100 has colors that are similar to the GH1, which aren't as good as the GH2. The AF100 isn't as sharp as the GH2, but it has a better codec, and you have the ability to record uncompressed. So it's a very good pro. I think we said this last night. It's a very good pro cam if you want a pro camera, something like a DVX100 or an HVX200 with a large sensor and a large compatibility of lenses to use with it. It could probably cut without any issues with an HVX200. But I think Panasonic could have done better in providing, if you compare it to something like the F3, or if you look at the color capture ability of Sony cameras, at least current Sony cameras, it's heads above current Panasonic cameras in latitude and in color. So even if Panasonic could provide something that looks more like an EX1, it would be fantastic. A lot of what happens with Panasonic cameras is that when the blue channel goes to overexposure, the tint starts to change. That and skin tones look a little bit off. You can see that in the last clip that I just uploaded that has the hack GH1 versus the GH2. You can see that the color differences between the two cameras. And while the AF100 is supposed to be built off the chip used in the GH2, I believe it's built off the chip used in the GH1, and that's why it looks like a GH1. I think that the processing that goes into it in the back-end software and processing comes off of a GH2. And that's why they share similar frame rates. But I think the chip itself is a modified GH1 chip. I do shoot pictures from time to time. I should shoot more pictures. Oh, we've got 13 people watching now, so at least we've upped the thing. I wanted to show everyone what I got in the mail today. Is a gift from BMW. They sent me a little... no one was watching earlier when I did this. They sent me a little Mini. I've never owned a Mini. My sister owns a Mini, but these BMW sent me this because they used some of my footage in a video that was sent out around the company. So I got that, but it's really cool. It opens up and it's got all the stuff under the hood. These are like those really expensive $80 models that has everything that works. I mean, it even came with luggage for the back. I don't know. I don't collect model cars. This is like my first, but I'm just like amazed by all the little details that are in here. Like if you watch, you can turn the wheels and the steering wheel turns. And the seats fold down in the back. It's like all there. Even underneath, you can see the shield for the stupid... I think they even put the shield in for the exhaust. It's typical. That type of shield is typical on BMW cars. That, and I got another M-hat. So... Anyway, I thought that would be cool to show. I got it shipped today to me. It was a gift from Germany. So try to set it back up here and see if it drives off. Yeah, we usually end with this, but I usually do this thing. So if you want to see... If you want to watch the lag really quick, I can do this for you. And it goes on forever. Anyway, we'll come back out. I know, it's exciting the first time. That's how we usually end these things, but... Yes, Inception. That's the Inception shot. Gotta make sure we're in focus again. Oh, there was this clip last night too that was on Vimeo. Someone took apart an LA7200. They took apart this anamorphic adapter that's on here. You see the flare shot. They took it apart. Where is it? Did I not like it? Ah. Oh, here it is. No more diopter. What they did is they took apart the LA7200 and they made it so that you can move the element. So the front element, the back, they kept the front element in place. If you watch the video, search anamorphic AG LA7200 no more diopter on Vimeo. Anyway, they put the element on the back of here, and then the front element they left in place and focused for infinity, and then they zoom between the two. If people were more familiar with that, I could talk about why that does and doesn't work. It works for some things, but it doesn't make it work on the 5D. The footage that he shows in his clip, if you really look at it, it still doesn't work on the 5D with a 50mm lens, but it's close. It's closer to working. He'd be better if he still used a diopter, but it's cool. I just saw Skyline. Did I see Skyline? I don't remember. Yeah, I did, but I already forgot what happened in it. Where they can't look at the thing or the two turn blue. I kind of forgot what all took place in it. I don't know, some movies I watch and then I totally forget after I watch it. What's the other computer for behind you? That's just the laptop that this is running on. I've got another computer down on the floor, but that's just another screen for backup stuff if I need to use it. Super 8 movie trailer 2. Actually, we've got 18 people watching now, which is the highest it's been in a while. So if you're coming in now, maybe you want to talk about the... just post in there if you want to talk about the new GH1 hack. And if I need to go over it again, if not, then you just sit there and still talk about it. Yeah, I watched the new Super 8 trailer. That's why... has a lot of this in there. There's like those train shots, and they've all got flares somewhere coming out of it, and people in front, people in the foreground, people standing between the lights, and it flaring to the side of them. Every single shot. Thanks, xsynthetic23. Ever seen Pi? That is one that I need to catch up on. I've never seen Pi. Or P.I. I think it's Pi, but that's one of those movies I asked myself why I haven't seen it, but that was the first of what's-his-face's movies, Aronofsky's, before he did Requiem. His first feature before Requiem. I've seen everything else that he's done. For some reason, I don't like that I like it, but for some reason The Fountain always stays in my head. That's like his most effective film for me. Even though everything inside of me tells me that I should not like The Fountain, for some reason The Fountain just sort of was effective. But I like space stuff. If you've got space and you've got time travel, then typically I'll be first in line to watch it. 13314 subscribers, 13315 now. Yeah, J.J. Abrams did the same thing in Star Trek. Yes, he did. He certainly did. What do I think of J.J. Abrams or Aronofsky or Cronenberg? All of them? Or which one of them? Ah, he made it 13315. Yes, he did. Aronofsky. I think Aronofsky's really talented. At times he gets, I think it gets a little wacky. I think he's very, very talented, and he's very talented with the actors. Sometimes the stories are like Requiem for a Dream. Was a little silly, kind of hilarious actually. But yeah, I would say in general I'm a fan of Aronofsky's. I mean, he's got an amazing mind for ways to structure films. So yeah. I just haven't seen Pi. It's the only one I haven't seen, but I've seen all of his other movies. The fridge. Am I a reader? Do I read good books? Not as much anymore. I think I'm getting a little too ADD to read books anymore. I used to could read like 300 pages a day. When I was younger, I spent a good 8-9 hours doing that, but I don't do that anymore. I usually just I probably read maybe 50 pages online a day. No, probably more than that. I read a lot of stuff online only, but I can't really sit with a book anymore. Franz Kafka Metamorphosis. Looks interesting. I would like to see one good film someday that can portray like a hypercube in a way that a normal human mind can comprehend. Some way to actually comprehend 4 physical spatial dimensions. I think that it's possible, but I think it would take a lot of training. If you can incorporate some sort of brain training for a few, like a couple hours in the film, and then you end up working in some sort of 4-dimensional space, I think that would be interesting. Adios, Rio and Ashley. That's okay if this channel isn't for you. I may not be as funny as other channels, but only, I don't do Arnie. I have Arnie sometimes. He comes over to my house. And he wants to knock on the door. Knock, knock, knock. That's actually pretty silly. Have I ever seen the Cube? I've seen like Cube 5. Whatever, like, there's the Hypercube movies. I saw like whatever. I saw one of them. Which one did I see? Not Cube 2. It's like Cube 4 or something. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was Cube 2. I have to watch. I did, but it didn't work in the same way that made it sensical. Called The Cube. I know there's a movie called Cube. I've seen, I think, the sequel to that, Cube 2, Hypercube, which is essentially the same sort of thing. That, or there was another one that was like some weird foreign film. Didn't do exactly what I wanted to do, though. People are dropping off really quickly now. 20 people watching was our height. Oh well, we tried. Someone else must have quit live streaming. I'm having all these like verbal speech errors. It's making me think there's some kind of processing problem going on from brain to mouth. I'm like slurring speech. Maybe I'm having a stroke. I think people just don't know when you're going to be on. Yeah, I don't even know when I'm going to be on. So the only reason I'm on right now is that Torkel posted that comment. I think it was Torkel on that last video. There goes my voice. I don't know if it's Torkel's fault tonight or someone else's. But I should make a schedule of being on live. I don't know what I do from day to day, though, so it's hard to keep a schedule. I'll tell you. We're going to blame this on somebody. Yeah, it was... Torkel reminded me an hour ago. Can't wait for the live stream tonight, so it's Torkel. Yeah, it's because Torkel joined last night late and I had to quit. Yeah. Do I know GH1? No, I'm talking about the band, I would assume. I guess. Elaborate sci-fi inspired. No, I've not listened to them. If I had the rights to do that, I would just go with what people, if people like told me to listen to something or watch something right live, I would do that. But I don't have the, well, Google really cares about audio sync rights, so if I start playing stuff live, that and if I turn up the sound, then I start hearing myself looping. Seems like there must be someone else who stopped live streaming. That's the reason why we got more people live streaming. But yeah, I can show you on, if anyone has a GH1 and you're watching, of the 15 of you watching right now, I can show you what happens with the new firmware, well, the 100 megabit update firmware. I was testing too with this. I used my 85B, and I left the sensor at 1. I left it at 3200 Kelvin. You see this? Typically I use this on the DVX100 in daylight to get more latitude out of the sensor. The DVX100 sensor is rated at 3200 Kelvin, so in daylight use this. You get slightly more latitude instead of white balancing the camera by using a filter. But yeah, so for the thing to remember with the 100 megabit update, if you have a GH1, which doesn't sound like people do, what happens is you need to underexpose. So there's a little, it's really hard to see. There we go. That's exposed properly. We need to no. Yeah. So you need to underexpose. See the little 0 dot there? No, now it's getting correct. It needs to be slightly underexposed so that you don't overrun the codec. Otherwise it'll crash. So when you do that, when you underexpose, there's more latitude with the hack GH1, and then you can color correct later to increase the brightness of it. If you follow that link that's down below, that shows you a lot of work that L. Powell's been doing. I don't necessarily agree 100% all the time with him, but him making 90 megabits work out of a GH1 is impressive. But a lot of times he was wrong for several months about the anamorphic patch for that. If you use MJPEG on this, even if you patch it up higher, it's still crappy compared to all the other modes. Got more viewers now. What else about that? So in that other video I used both cameras, and I just switched the lens between them in the same spot on a tripod. So what you saw was both cameras running at once, and it besides color, they were fairly close in that scene. The things where the two start really differing from each other are when you get into low light, and the GH2 does better. Now the GH2 does have a slight problem in low light. There are times if there isn't enough exposed in low light, the GH2 will start having a little bit of codec mud itself because the encoder starts screwing up a little bit. So that is a thing to watch for, and I have seen that happen with the GH2. The image quality is still, even with that, amazing. What time is it there? It is 9:53 p.m. Pacific time. What camera is better in low light, 7D or GH2? In low light, they're fairly similar. The GH2 is a little sharper. The 7D probably has a little better color saturation, but actually they're very similar in terms of video alone. I haven't tested stills alone, but in video alone, it's very similar in terms of grain, and you could certainly cut between the two, no problem. I think I've got one comparison down further where I compared them both in low light. What camera are we using for the live stream? This is a DVX100 with an LA7200 anamorphic adapter on it, and it is going by FireWire into Flash Media Encoder, or I'm uploading a 360p stream to YouTube that I'm encoding myself. I love my DVX100B. Yes, you know what? I hadn't used my DVX100 in a year until I started using it on YouTube. I actually thought about selling it a few times, but here I am using it again. It's like the tool that will never get old. I mean, especially for this live stream thing. Since YouTube doesn't allow higher quality streaming yet, I might as well use this. There is no better camera. There really is no better camera right now for live streaming on YouTube than a DVX100. It gives the best image possible. Now when it gets to be HD, it won't be the best anymore, but it will still be a good option. This isn't, the quality that you're seeing now is probably about a quarter of the quality that I can actually get out of the camera and stream live. Yeah, it's close to HD, especially in progressive mode. It's very close to HD. If you were shooting a low budget feature right now, would you go GH2 or forget it and go f3? What I would do if I was shooting a feature, I would prefer to have a camera like the f3 along, just because then you've got time code, you've got better monitoring options, and you can review every shot. Well, you can review every shot while you're shooting on a GH2. It depends on the budget. If you have the budget to have an f3 round, I would have an f3. F3 is better than the 5D in low light. The f3 is very close to an Epic in low light. It is actually, I would say that the f3, if you get the S-Log upgrade, is probably the best 1080p camera available out of anything. And for a lot of things, it's a lot easier to use than a RED, because a RED you're recording to cards and then you've got to process later. Whereas an F3, you record to those cards and you can edit right away. You don't have to do any processing. So I really do like the F3. If I was getting a pro cam today that I would use for different stuff, I would get an F3. But if you were low budget enough, you could shoot on a GH2 what you get on, very close to what you get on an F3. Just a little bit of light will get you very close to an F3, and you could, if you're on a super low budget and you have the time and patience, you can get those results out of a GH2. So I'm not, lowering this anyway. This is an amazing tool for the price. For body alone, it's like $600 for a GH2 if you can actually get it. That, or I guess it's higher now. But an F3 does things that, actually an F3 has more aliasing than a GH2, surprisingly enough. It is sharper, but they don't include any OLPF on the F3, so it does have more aliasing than a GH2. So there might actually be times where you'd prefer the image from a GH2 to an F3, but not in something, if you can't control light, an F3 is going to be better because it has a couple, 3 stops more dynamic range than a GH2. So in controlled light, like a DVX100, a DVX100 has about 7 stops of usable light. The DVX100 starts getting really ugly if you start using it in bright white light, where things start overexposing, or skin tones start overexposing. In the GH2, can you switch between PAL to NTSC? And we'll come back to the Sony A55. I think I'll search that camera out. I think that's one of the things that he's working on in Hack. No, I don't believe that you can switch to PAL mode. I think that's one of the problems that people have with it. The GH1 and the Hack GH1, I know you certainly can switch to PAL. GH2, I'm pretty sure you can't. Have I ever seen the vegan black metal chef? I don't think so. At least not off the top of my head. Let's look up the Sony A55 and I'll tell you what I think. That's the one with the translucent mirror. I haven't used it. I haven't even seen it in a store, actually. It's the one that has weird video modes. Yeah, okay. Video is going to be absolutely useless on the A55. It's 1080i or 1440 by 1080 at 17 megabits. So basically, it's probably about what an unhacked GH1 gets for video mode. It's not something that you want to use, most likely, for the price that it costs. So in terms of straight just shooting movie modes, no, I would not use an A55 because it has a terrible codec, a terrible 17 megabit codec, and AVC HD is not limited just to 1080i. AVC HD Lite is, but AVC HD that's included, did they put the tag on this? On the GH2 is not 1080i, it's actual 1080p. so you can have 1080p AVC HD. But usually the AVC HD Lite that's included in DSLRs like the Sony are only 1080i, which sucks. I'm sure the still quality of Sony cameras has been increasing in quality and is fantastic, since they are the OEM of most camera sensors. It has 10 frames per second like the 1D. Yeah, that would make sense because it has the translucent mirror, so it doesn't have to worry about flapping the shutter up and down. No, I'm sure as a still camera, it's a great still camera. Most of these still cameras now are so incredibly good that they outperform the lenses that most people put on them. I mean, upgrading, you could still use an old Canon Rebel XTI and get amazing pictures, depending in most light. People that are really talented could use even worse cameras than that. What's the difference between 1080i and 1080p? That's a good question. 1080i, 1080p is a full frame, so 60 frames per second at 1080i is full frames. 1080p is full frames. 1080i is only half a frame at a time, so that it's separated into fields that are split up. They're interlaced fields that make up a frame. So you get one field at a time. So it's like, essentially, if you cut everything into, you show 2 frames at once, that makes the 1080, but of straight information, there's only 540 lines per frame, and they're integrated off and on. That's what gives the 1080i look its look, that TV look. What channel uses that? It's not the same as progressive 60p, but if you watch on an LCD, it converts to 60p anyway. They're getting more confusing. But if you watch on a CRT, you can tell the difference between interlaced and progressive pretty easily. But it's the way that a 1080i is only fields. You got 2 sets of fields instead of a full frame that's recorded. You know, we'll say this is a full frame instead of half frames at once. And with that, you get like DV video, so you get weird artifacts when you combine those frames, unless you do other processing. Like you get stair stepping on any detail, because you're not getting a full. It's like shooting half of a picture at a time and shooting another half picture and combining those, except it does that at the same time. Anyway, in the age of the internet and everything else, there shouldn't be cameras that shoot interlaced for internet formats. It's really, really annoying. I have a GH2 and I was under the impression that it was only 1080i because of the manual. How do I get 1080p on? If you use cinema mode, actually, let me show you. Let me start it up for you. It is 1080p all the time. I don't think there's even a 1080i mode. Variable movie mode, all those different frame rates, 1080 24p that's recorded. Cinema mode is 1080 24p. It's actual 1080p, not 1080i. Maybe the manual movie mode. If you're out of cinema, maybe manual movie mode's 1080i. But usually the only reason I use that is for SH mode, which is SH is 720p mode. So you're back in progressive. If you use manual, actually it makes sense. If you use manual movie mode and put it in FHD instead of cinema, that's probably 17 megabits 1080i. But if you use cinema or variable movie mode, those are all 24 megabit 1080p. If that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, just let me know. But the thing that came with the GH2, I mean the GH1, the hack GH1, got a 1080p mode with the hack. It shoots 1080i unless you apply the native 24p hack, and then you get a true progressive signal. That way you get rid of that stair-stepping with the colors. And that 100 megabit codec is with the native 24p enabled. That's why it looks even close to the GH2. The TAS, that was the old Sony cameras with night vision that came on during the day, so you'd have to search on eBay for an 8mm camera that with night vision. I still haven't found mine. I have somewhere, one of those somewhere. What do you think would be better for sports, 60D or GH2? I think it's you can get. I mean, most of the content that you make, people might not even notice the difference between the two. Since you already have your 60D, you might as well keep the 60D instead of selling it, unless you really want to sell it. That, or if you get a second camera, you could get a GH2. But I mean, you can't really make a mistake with the camera that you get. There's no point in being a super fan of any one camera when something better comes out every 3 to 6 months. So, I mean, there's nothing. The 60D has the one thing I would say that the 60D has over the Panasonic cameras is the ability to use a bunch of Canon's still lenses that are fantastic for shooting sports in electronic mode. So in that way, Canon has a lot of their great stabilized L series lenses that Panasonic simply doesn't have, or they're not compatible electronically. So I would say in that way, maybe not in specs alone, but in the lens selection that you have available. AR4216 is back. Says he'd prefer the 60D for stills and the GH2 for video. Yeah, the GH2 JPEG mode isn't the greatest, but if you compare on like D preview, if you compare, well, let's look and see if they've got their 60D review up. When it's in RAW, they're fairly close. I'll look at the T3 in comparison. Compared to RAW, and then let's load up. RAW versus Panasonic GH2. The GH2 actually looks pretty amazing if you look at the raw samples, just the raw samples alone, and go to D preview and compare it to different cameras. I mean, I didn't even buy the GH2 for that. I thought the 7D would be that, but the other day I started searching through reviews. Actually, let's look at and see how it compares. The 60D should outperform the GH2 in low light, but that's something I want to find out myself. I'm going to find out live. GH2. Oh, they've got a GH2 review. Okay. And let's go up to like raw 1800 versus the 60D. It's actually very close between the two in most shooting situations. And I didn't even know this until I think I searched last night and compared it to other cameras. But the RAW, I'm sure it starts falling. Let's go up to 3200 and compare it. Yeah, 3200 doesn't look as good as the 60D, but under 3200, 1600. It looks like 1600 is about the tipping point between the two, between the GH2. GH2 might actually have a little bit more latitude than the 60D. Yeah, it's a throw up between them, up to ISO 1600. And if you're shooting low ISOs, like anything 160 up to 640, you wouldn't even notice the difference. You could shoot a picture between 60D, D7000, or T3i, and you probably wouldn't notice a difference. Yeah, I'm on D preview. I didn't, like I said, I can write it down. Follow AR4216. Look at D preview and look at the link. I'm surprised. I didn't expect the sensor to do that. I didn't buy the camera for that. I'm sure the GH1 doesn't get anywhere close to that, but I'll actually put that. I'll put a link to it in YouTube. Bah. I'll add it to the info. You can look at it yourself. Chopped. Night optics for guns rule. Yeah, but there's a difference. The Sony Handycam mode is just using IR like a car. When you have cars that have night vision, that's not true night vision. True night vision doesn't need those other modes that you see on camcorders are just infrared lights that shine out and light up. True night vision will take all light sources and amplify it up. That's why it's so expensive. Okay. What else are we going to get to now? I've forgotten what we were talking about. We have quite a few people watching. 14. Ooh boy. Ooh doggy. Micro Four Thirds rumors mention Olympus is going to come out with some new Zucchio lenses next month. They should be expensive. Portrait lens in a 12 millimeter f2. About that test you did, have I talked about it? I did talk about it, but I'll talk about it again if you want to know. Let me look up the 4/3 rumor thing, because I haven't seen that. I forgot to check that site today. If they really come out with a 12 millimeter f2, I would love to have that lens. It would be insane. Faster than the Panasonic 14. It's got to be $1,000 though. Those Zucchio lenses are amazing. In fact, the Olympus has the only f2 zooms for digital cameras in the world. They've got the 14 to 35, and I don't have that kind of money to burn on 4/3 lenses. That's kind of crazy. 14 to 35 and the 35 to 100. Those are fantastic, optically fantastic lenses. If you were going to get an AF100, those would be 2 zoom lenses on the short list of lenses to actually get. What else did they say? I would like to see that, though. I hope they come out with it. I don't know why Sony went to their own mount as well. I wish Sony would have joined Micro Four Thirds, but I get, well, the neck sensors are larger anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. Wish they would have used a Nikon mount, though. Why does everyone have to have their own mount? Or a Pentax mount? Hey, everything's adaptable to Pentax. I watched a video of yours where you had yourself on 2 different sides of the table. What software does that? What you do is you just record yourself once and record yourself a second time without moving the camera, and you can use any editing software like that. I use Sony Vegas, but you can use pretty much any software will let you do that and blend. Well, some point in there you need to blend. You can do it fancier if you've got a movable dolly that records movement, and you can get the movement exactly the same. You can actually put yourself in twice with a moving camera. That, or if you animate the camera after it's been composited. Okay, so with the hacked GH1 and GH2, if you follow the link from DVX User, no one's done the comparison yet, but I posted it at the end of that thread. L. Powell, I think I'm saying that right, found a way to get like 90 megabits average out of the GH1 without it crashing. And the way that he did that was by underexposing 1/3 of a stop and bumping up the bit rate in Vitality's P tool. So he has a downloadable preset for P tool. I did that. I re-updated the firmware on my GH1 earlier. I went outside, put them both on a tripod, and shot the same shot with the GH1 and the GH2. I know there's not that much movement. It was cold, and I could do a better comparison. I will do a better comparison later. But that is the closest I've seen the GH1 come to a GH2. It should actually be, well, I don't know. In high motion, the GH1 might actually be better now at 100 megabits than the GH2. But the GH2's built-in codec is actually stronger because it has B frames where the codec in the GH1 doesn't. You can see some of the deficiencies of the GH1 in that video. I mean, it's still a fantastic camera. With the 100 megabit codec, if this was your only camera, if a GH1 was your only camera, it would produce fantastic results. But there is a little bit of a green push. It still has problems in low light, and the screen isn't anywhere near as good as a GH2. There's a lot of blurriness while you try to anytime that you're using the GH1, you get like almost reminds me of like a first generation PSP. When you move it, you get all sorts of blur across the screen. It's just a slow LCD on the GH1. And but outside of that, the image quality was excellent with the new patch. Usually, in most of my videos, they're typically around 50 megabits. So, with that extra overhead on freshly formatted Class 10 cards, you can get even better results now that are even closer to a GH2's video quality. I hope you like Ron Paul. I do like Ron Paul. In fact, I didn't want to talk about politics again, but yes, I wrote in Ron Paul even though he didn't have a chance for winning last election. And in fact, I'd probably write him in again. But whatever. A lot of people try to say a lot of bad things about him that just aren't true. Seems a smart, intelligent guy. But Vimeo, I assume Jesse is... You want me to look at that Vimeo? How does he make the 5D look that good? Nope, that didn't work. Is there another number? That number didn't show up in Vimeo. 224-39234. Yeah, I copied that number. I think there's supposed to be one more digit, isn't there? Maybe I'll search videos for that. No. Let me look back. Do you have his name? You wanted me to look up skate before on YouTube, but I was too busy talking. Yeah, see when I put that in Vimeo. Actually, let me look at another video on my videos. What happens? Actually, yeah, that's a video that nobody can see. Nope, it doesn't work. It's called The Mountain. Well, that helps. You see it, the White Mountain, or just the mountain? No, that's not the same number. The mountain, Canon 5D. I guess a lot of people have shot the mountain. Talking about Tom Lowe's stuff, right? TSO photography. So the mountain. Oh, that isn't video, that's just time lapse. So he's using a time lapse controller. And he's shooting full frames. So he's shooting huge uncompressed, well, raw frames. He's shooting that raw. And that's why he gets amazing stuff like that. But there's no video involved. There's no video camera that will come close to that except maybe an Epic M. It's amazing though. I'm sure if you download it, it looks 10 times more amazing since he rendered it in 4K. Yeah, I love those things. I need to try doing that once. Ansel Adams is cool. I like his work a lot. Brilliant guy, actually. Cool. You don't know what I'm responding to. Let's see. Do you have any idea how much it costs to rent or buy one of those RC helicopters for... Let's look that up. I'll just hit the camera. Microcopter. I never remember how to spell it. The one that you want, the one that you'll be able to fly yourself, is the one that has 4 or 6 fan blades or rotors, because you don't have to worry about learning to fly and dealing with all the other stuff that's involved with flying a regular helicopter, because you don't have to worry about the tail rotor pulling to the side and then adjusting for that and everything else. Those microcopters can actually fly themselves if you load them up with a GPS. If you look at microcopter.us, a lot of people talk about a lot of people build them themselves. Let me look up microcopter. I think they're still very expensive to actually buy. Oh, they have some for sale on their site. I'll put the link. Actually, I'll spell it out for you so you can look up. I think these are the ones that use the software that's available to everyone, but yeah, there's a lot of videos on Vimeo that show those things. Look like Hexa XL, Quadro XL. Looks like 1698, and it's a kit to build one that looks like it can fly at least a GH2. Probably not a heavier Canon camera. Probably not a heavy lens on any kind of the camera, but now, ARF, is that all ready to fly? ARF kit, $350. Does that mean it's pre-assembled for you? I don't know. You can get it with Navi and GPS, and that will let it stabilize itself, and it will actually hover itself, and I think you can control it in that way too. But I think you can do it cheap, and if you get a remote, I bet you could do it under, maybe you could actually do it under $3,000. But yeah, I really want to do that. That's one of the things I really, really want. I want to get a shot, like that shot at the end of the Rambo 4, the last Rambo, where it's following up behind him. I would like to take that up like into the clouds, doing the same thing, but stabilized enough that it's like a super techno crane. Because what you basically have there is you have a combo of, if it works and is steady, you have the combo of a super techno crane and a dolly. So it's like a sky dolly. It's like one of those things that from Back to the Future 2, those things that I've always wanted, one of those floating cameras that can go wherever you want. If I had that, I could do anything I wanted. I could do the shot that I wanted to do for the like a last Dirty Harry film. Like I want to start up in the clouds above the Bay Bridge, so the clouds are covering the sky, you can't see it through them. Then we fly down through, you start seeing the bridge uncovered, flies down through, you start to see that the traffic's all backed up, keeps on flying down, it gets closer to the Golden Gate Bridge, and this is all during the title music, which I guess would be the classic Dirty Harry theme. You've got the titles popping up in artistic places like beginning of Metal Gear Solid 2, essentially. And then you have Clint walking down the center of the bridge, 44 Magnum in hand. The camera flies around, comes into him, comes around, like centers in between the lanes of the bridge and flies straight into Clint, comes up to like a medium close shot, and then goes straight into his gun, shoots, and that's like Dirty Harry shows up on screen. Hey, Mikey. I watched 40 minutes on, what is it, Gamers Die last night. I watched the first mission of L.A. Noire. Is that how, I mean, but they added the E on the end. So is it Noir? But yeah, I am going to get that. I do really want that game. It looks excellent, actually. How do you make time lapses like that? Do you set it to take a photo? Yeah, usually the best way is to get an external controller, so it plugs into the shutter port of, where's the shutter port on here? Yeah, so it would plug into your controller port of your digital camera, and then control the camera for the times that it takes. You can also use the EOS utility over USB to control shots like that, and then get it to take it every so often. I think EOS utility does that. But yeah. But an external controlled controller might work better and be more reliable than trying to depend on a laptop. Hunter S. Thompson. Yeah, he's that clip of Hunter S. Thompson when he was on Conan, that's pretty amazing when he brings Conan out to do shooting with him. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy and hilarious. If you are anti-political, why is there a Clint for Mayor bumper and this sticker behind you? As I was given that, and Clint is awesome, and that's like something that is just awesome. Clint's always awesome. Clint himself is anti-political in a way. You try to get him to answer a question on politics, and he hates it. Hi, Sniper 3493. You be in my chat sniping my comments, maybe? Sniping me from my comments? For that, guys, time lapses uses motion control systems, both horizontal and vertical. Yes, there are. If you look, they make dollies that actually take pictures while moving and controlling the camera. So it's the same type of things. Those sliders, they actually make electronically controlled sliders that plug into DSLRs and then have timed responses for taking shots. There's actually open source versions of those too. I'm still looking for the guy that was working on an open source one. He ended up with like a 3 meter long one for $800, and it came with a motion controller. It looked fairly well built, and it was a slider that worked for both stills and video. But the thing is that he had worked it out and made it work for stills with Panasonic cameras as well. I snipe everyone. Cool. Cool, bro, cool. I got ideas? Mad ideas. Mocha Loco. Mocha Loco? I've got to find it. It's driving me crazy. That's one thing. Akira's actually making a lot more money than me right now, so I'm going to have to make him buy me toys because he's got way more money than me. So I be jealous. I are jealous. GH1 time lapse slider. Seriously, if I have to keep searching through EOS HD stuff showing up, I'm going to cry. He's got like a block on his thing. I know he probably talked about the slider thing once. GH1 time lapse. Because I have to get that thing. And I thought I had bookmarked it. But I've got, if you're like me, I've got 10 million bookmarks I'll never find anything that I bookmark. Stage 0 dolly. Is this it? Dynamic perception? Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. This is what I wanted. Somehow I saved it. This guy. This guy. Now he's dropped the price for a back order. Okay, let me put a link to this. This looks awesome. This is the thing that I want. It's cheap. This could be the killer item that everyone needs. Why did I just do that? There you go here. Is AR-4216, are you talking about the same one? Melapse or OpenMoko is the name of his website. The one I was talking about was this one, the dynamic perception. He's got the complete kit. $447 gets you a 6-foot dolly, electronic control with a motor. Takes you 30 minutes to assemble. It's DC powered, and it looks like it comes made out of some blue anodized aluminum, possibly steel, maybe, and it controls most. I think it comes. The controller box is with uses some open source software to run it. That is what I want. That is an excellent price for what you get. An awesome price if it works and if it works smoothly. And he offers different power types and different connectors. I thought he had a bigger one. Yeah, I'm glad I remembered and found this, and now that it's in here and saved in the info, I will remember. But I need to find someone who's done a review on this. It says it won't be available now until estimated ship date June 1st to June 20th. So how big is this monitor? This one's 42 and that one's 40. Am I pointing at it correctly? Yeah, it is very cool because it's cheap. And think if it works the right way, it's the same price as that other thing, but you could actually repeat motion. So if you're filming yourself with 2 of yourself or 3 of yourself, you'd actually have a moving camera of that, or you could set it out and you could shoot time lapse with it. You can use it as a vertical lift camera if it's got enough power to actually work at what I'm not thinking is a jib in different motions. So how did I get live, Sniper? It's a YouTube beta program for partners. How are you filming for over an hour when you're using your DVX100? I'm leaving it in standby mode and I'm going DV out to the laptop. The camera isn't recording anything. I don't think I've put a tape in the DVX100 in the past 2 years. Open Moco. I will look that up. Open source. Oh, so these people build pan and tilt controllers. That's very, very useful. Any type of little type of controller, any type of motion control controller are very, very important and are all hand built for those commercials that you see shot of products. Like I was going to shoot a product thing of this. Someone would build a little model that would move up and down and move side to side. All those like Bud Light commercials where it's all steamy and I think I've seen this before. But yeah, that's cool. It might actually be cheaper to build the whole thing yourself, but I'd rather get a kit from the other guy just to make it simpler. But you know, the thing that might really draw me to this might be the blue anodized aluminum. I've got this thing ever since where's my matte box? I can't find it. Here's my matte box. Ever since I got my matte box, this is a French Van Diemen matte box with a blue anodized ring. The mounting ring is blue anodized. I've had this thing for finding things that are blue anodized because the color of this is pretty amazing. And it's rare that you find something that's blue anodized. Call me crazy, but just something that, like that, if something has got that listed, it draws me in more. So the fact that this thing is cheap, does what it does, and is completely blue anodized and that big, I'm drooling. Their whole website is blue. This guy must be a real fan of blue anodized. I think it's like a dye that you put in with the aluminum and then get it to attach to the aluminum. I'm not. Hi La Pampa, I don't know if you heard me before, but the live thing only is for certain YouTube partners. So if you're a YouTube partner, I can click on your thing. You can apply for the live program. I think if you search for live on YouTube, you can apply for it. It doesn't look like it. That or if you have another channel. I don't know if you have another channel or not, but it's just a beta program right now for certain people. Tapes do suck. In tapes that I used in this DVX100, I only used Panasonic Master tapes in here, so those were always like $6.73 a piece in bulk. Sniper, I'm sorry I've never been on your channel. What do you talk about? Click me. I talk about cameras, I talk about movies, I talk about all sorts of stuff. If you click on the main page and click off of me, I've got like a video of me pretending to be Arnie, or I do Arnie impressions from time to time. Whether they're good or not, I don't know. You have a video about making money on YouTube? That's good. I wish I could have started when I was your age. That would have been, I would have had millions by this time. That's good. If you start right now, if you're 11 or if you're still in high school or before high school and junior high or middle school, and you start working on YouTube videos right now, you might have enough, if you really work hard on it, really work hard and put like hours a week into your work, by the time you get out of high school, you might not have to have another job. Do I own any Zacuto stuff? I don't. I think we won some Zacuto stuff when Vengeance Rides a Train won that competition on one of them sites, but no, I haven't bought any of their stuff. Their stuff's very high quality. It's expensive though. It's great stuff, but it is really expensive. No, I haven't personally bought any of their stuff. Your head's broke on your camera? That really sucks. I know tape in general just sucks, especially when it crumples up. I've had one tape crumple in my DVX. That was scary. What music do I like? I mostly like, we're not going to get into like a composer battle tonight, but I like film scores. Most of the time I end up listening to Morricone. If it's something that makes fun of other music, I'll listen to that too. I will actually claim to have been to a Weird Al concert. No, right now I've been listening to the new Lonely Island CD. Not as good as Incredibad, but actually it's not anywhere near Incredibad. But they're kind of hilarious. I don't end up listening to a lot of pop or rock, or I don't end up listening to a lot of soundtracks because I get bored really quick with those too. When I listen to something, it has to engage me enough that I can find a story in it, and then like, I'm crazy. Never mind. Zacuto seems ridiculously expensive to me. I guess it's worth it if you have the money. Yeah, if you have the money, I'm sure it is. Well, Zacuto's cheap. You want expensive stuff? Go down to LA and go to Film Tools. Go to the Film Tools store and start looking at stuff there. You will blow your mind in terms of how much stuff can cost. Ever seen Moon? Moon is a great movie. I even like Source Code. I like the ending that they chose. UHF is amazing. I will say that. I mean, there's some things that I can't get behind Weird Al on, but there's some things that he does amazingly. And UHF is an amazing movie. Yes. Okay, David Bowie, I don't listen to his music, but he's an awesome guy. Especially his scene on Extras. I do watch that when he makes fun of what's his face on Extras. That's awesome. Yeah, it was directed by David Bowie's son. I knew that. David Bowie in when he played Tesla was awesome. So in general, David Bowie is really cool, but I don't really listen to his music. Eminem is, if you watch his last two music videos, I think, or whatever, the one with Rihanna and the one before that, both of those were shot on those are like two videos that you can watch on YouTube that were shot with the new Hawk anamorphic lenses. So if you want an example of the 133 Hawk anamorphic lenses, if you're interested, and those super expensive, they're probably the best anamorphic lenses that you can rent. I think they're incredibly expensive to buy, but watch that and you'll see the very best anamorphic lenses in production today. Hey, Mr. FPS Gamer, you guys must have been watching some live stream of somebody actually playing a game. That would be a whole lot more fun than watching me talk live. Polka Dot Cadaver? A lot of stuff I won't have probably heard of. I'm pretty lame when it comes to... Oh, you want to see a music video that I shot? A long time ago when I was in school with my DVX 100. Rainbow Express. Oh my goodness, it's on Vimeo now. Yeah, search on Vimeo for Glenn and the Sunshine Gang Rainbow Express. I shot that a long time ago. Here, I'll post the thing in YouTube. I seem to be corrupted. It's really dark. I should have shot it better than that. I would like a chance to reshoot that. Actually, maybe not, but people are going to watch that and be, what is going on? That was the craziest music video I've ever shot. And that's the only one I think I can find online that I've shot. No, I've got the one with me and Akira that we did. But, do they actually have more stuff? Are they like famous now or something, maybe? I don't know. On Sussex Downs. I'll watch a little bit of it right now without sound. What was it shot? Sigma 50mm. Play it full screen. Usually don't do that, but it's an interesting idea the way he color corrected that. It is composed nicely. Interesting. You should post Rainbow Express on YouTube. It would go viral. Yeah, if I posted it on my channel, maybe I could get... It needs to be redone. It's all dark and stuff. I've got a copy myself, but not with that color correction. Are you going to take a ride on the Rainbow Express right now? Rainbow Express, Rainbow Express. You talk cameras here, yes. The day we filmed that at school, and we took 2 studios up to take that. I know it doesn't look like it looks terrible and compared to everything else I've shot. You're the guy with the tape, then it's got the screamer, and yeah. We were like, had the volume turned up to 11, playing that in the building. You could hear that from a couple blocks away. And we had a gigantic studio space that we were renting for that. You wouldn't even know it. I mean, it looks so terrible. I had like probably a $10,000 dolly, but I only had 2 2K lights because nobody got lights, so it's so dark because that's all we had. I'd like a chance to redo that, though. I Must Be Famous? No. Not Infamous either. Take a ride on the Rainbow Express. It's riding high tonight. How long ago did I did that? 6 years ago? 6 or 7 years ago? It's probably the ugliest thing I've shot. It's seriously ugly. Vixia HFS 10, what do you think about it? I think that's one of those ones that has large sensor. It has fairly good quality. Hey, Connor K. Canon HFS 10. I think we're thinking of the same one. .24p cinema mode. Shoots 24 megabit. What's the size of the sensor in that? 1.5 inch. You can't really go wrong with that for a straight video camera. No, it doesn't have audio inputs. The thing that gets irritating on most little still video cameras like that is manual control. So I don't see. Maybe it has a manual control. So the hardest thing is controlling manual features of the camera. Outside of that, it produces a good image. It should have a good low light image. Should be an excellent as a regular camcorder. Rainbow Express, Rainbow Express. Metallic. Of course, I got no sound. You know what? I'll add that to my watch later list. That way I can watch it with sound. I like claymation. Rainbow Express is missing from IMDb, but it is on my resume when I do use a resume. Is Rainbow Express actually even listed on IMDb? That would amaze me if they have music videos on IMDb. I've got to like re-up my IMDb, otherwise they're going to cancel it. I forgot about that. That's good. No, they haven't canceled it yet. I better fix it. I thought Rainbow Express was in here. Yeah, Rainbow Express music video, cinematographer. AJ Jackson directed it. I've got it listed in there. It's on the resume, but I can't put it on the... They don't let you list a bunch of things on IMDb. It's a pain. I haven't listed... What I should list, I should be able to list Vengeance Rides a Train, because that did the online festival, so that should qualify for that. What else should be listed? Nelson's Dojo should also be listed on IMDb, but it's a lot of work to submit a new title to get to IMDb and get them to accept it. I'm a Leo, apparently. Anyway, what else did I miss? Anything else? Not really. 17 people watching, well 18 including myself, because I'm watching myself so I can watch the delay. Why do you think it's important Bin Laden watch porn? I think that the news doesn't have anything else to talk about, so that's why we'll talk about Bin Laden's porn collection. Oops, did I just pause myself? Probably in order to... Jumble Jimble is returned. Probably it's being talked about in order to help demonize him more, since it's been so many years since 9/11. So... I don't know. Should it be broadcast on regular news? Well, they don't really have anything else to talk about, so anything like that, they will just keep repeating ad nauseum. I can't watch news. I don't watch any news channel. Any news that I get, I will read online stuff. Dude, I got a bigger knife somewhere. I gotta find my K-bar. Where's my K-bar? I don't know where my K-bar is. I would get out my K-bar if I had my K-bar. Maybe I do have my K-bar. I mean, obviously they didn't even know who it belonged to. It wasn't necessarily his. It was somebody's in there, but I don't know. I don't know why it was even brought up. It doesn't even matter, but whatever. I'd be more surprised if there was like bacon in his fridge than if he had a porn collection. Have I seen IP Man, craziest kung fu movie ever? No, I haven't. I know he's asking where's my gun. 114184. I will be right back if you can still hear me. One of you all stole my K-bar. Where's your guns? Tell me where's my guns? I need to put something under my... They're here and here. What do you want to talk about with the guns? Toy. Note to YouTube moderators. This is a toy plastic gun. But you know it will fire off. No, we won't fire off a round. Because the last time I did that, it fills with smoke in here, it smells terrible, and it hurts my eardrums. So... Sniper is scared. But there's no reason to be scared. You're the sniper here. I would be more scared if you mentioned the Jack of Candles, if you mentioned his full name, that would scare me. Bad things happen.
I know what you're thinking, punk. You're thinking, has he fired 6 shots or only 5? To tell you the truth in all this excitement, I kind of lost track myself. But seeing this is a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world that would blow your head clean off, you've got to ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do ya, punk?
Ooh, that's right, we haven't done this in anamorphic. Let's make it really interesting.
I know what you're thinking, punk. You're thinking, has he fired 6 shots or only 5?
Adios, Jedediah Productions. I know we've gotten a little wild here now, but... How cool do I think I am? I think I'm just about a 0 on the cool scale, unless I'm driving a cool car, and then I'm a 10. But is this cool right now? Not particularly. There's no action going on. Coolness derives directly from action, not inaction. Sitting here live streaming with a plastic gun is not cool. If I was doing something else in action, that could be cool. If I was live streaming while going very fast and I had this in my hand, that would be cool. Yeah, no problem. Hope I didn't scare you off with the plastic. My plastic piece. Get me a P90. Yeah, those are cool. I just need to get myself a nice 1911, and that's set for me. If we start getting into guns, do I have a rifle, bro? I got rifles aplenty. Not any rifles with me right now. Classic quack. Classic quack. You need your friend, a composer, to compose some music for you while you just sit there and Oreos. Do that for 4 hours. I have my own theme song, but I have not found it. I looked for it last night. I've got the Milkman theme, which I started to play last night, but that is not the theme of me. I've got my own theme music, but I can't find it. He wrote that for me. And I would play that. Classic quack. You wascally wabbit, you wascally wabbit, I'm going to get you. Classic quack. Hey everybody, it's classic quack. I have a .22 caliber rifle. Am I cool yet? Just a little further. What I really need for these live streams is just not me in the picture, but I need a puppet of Kermit the Frog, and Kermit the Frog will sit on camera and say really bad things. I think Miss Piggy is nasty. I think Miss Piggy is a whore. Everybody want to sing with me and then sing some really bad song? It'll just be Kermit the Frog on my arm, and we'll just go from there. And I think a Kermit the Frog live stream would be really popular. Kermit the Pimp Daddy. Hey, Fuzzy. Want to help me pimp out my hose? Smith & Wesson M&P 15. Isn't that the 22 assault-looking gun? I think it is. And the task says Mad Guns. Bedazzle 'em. Now we're getting a little better. Wow. It looks like there's a sun in your room. Well, just about the power of 1,000 suns. Over 9,000 powered suns. Kermit and Arnold doing a show at once. That might be the ticket. But yes, I need the good Arnold. I've got a plastic, very scary Ronald Reagan mask that's nasty. And what I like to do, what I used to do, and I don't have, well, I have cell phone video of it, but I had an electric wheelchair, and what I would do is I would put on the mask, the Ronald Reagan mask, and tilt my head to the side, and I would take the electric wheelchair around town, and I would ride around like that. One time I had my little dog with me, and I was riding in the wheelchair, in the electric wheelchair, and then I got chased by these two other dogs that were trying to attack her. So I had to, I was going with the wheelchair, and I picked up the little dog and threw her over this fence and got up out of the chair, and the owner of the dogs came after her dogs, but I could just imagine what she thought in her mind when I jumped out of the wheelchair and to go to put the dog over the side of the fence. What are you using to process the anamorphic stretch live? I am using just Adobe Live Media Encoder, and then setting the, not locking in the aspect ratio and writing in my own. How do you get your plastic guns to fire 20mm rounds? Because I know you can do it. I don't know. I'd have to Google it. Well, yeah, when the electric wheelchair worked, I have to get a new battery for it. I would be able to drive around. I would use it as a dolly, because it's got a little joystick thing. It's one of them really expensive $5,000 electric wheelchairs. It's sort of handed down from a dead person. I also have this little voice changer thing. It's also probably from... Anyway, what you do is you put it up to your mouth and it changes your voice, makes you sound like a monster. And when I put on the... I've also ridden around with the Ronald Reagan mask on, and with the voice changer underneath that, sounding like a zombie riding around in the wheelchair.
Who is your daddy? Who is your daddy and what does he do? Stop it! Stop it! I'm Detective John Kimball. I'm a copy of it.
Mr. Kimball, Mr. Kimball, I'm sorry. Me and Fozzie, we were just trying to get to moving right along. I don't know. Nazi zombies. That is my gimmick. I need voice changer. Yes, indeed I should. But I haven't found anything that would last like the length of these shows that is around that does that. Come here, the flashlight. Actually, maybe the little one. Oh yes, that is a good idea. Do the Stephen Hawking thing. Yeah, that would be pretty hilarious. Imagine doing that live. I would get in probably a lot of trouble. I can't get it to sit there. Back here. It's not bright enough to flare from back there. Or not at the right height. It's not really sitting. Joel Schumacher made a film with Nazi zombies as well, straight to video. The 70s. I need to see that. There is one good Joel Schumacher movie, and that's Falling Down. Except for the very end. The very end annoys me. I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it, but that movie is awesome. Defense. Yeah, I know that Rainbow Express song, Rainbow Express sticks in your head forever. There isn't a way out of it. Take a ride on the Rainbow Express. It's riding high tonight. ZigTech? I'm not sure I know what ZigTech is. Have I seen Bad Taste? Yes, I'm pretty sure that's the What's-His-Face's movie. Yeah, I've seen Bad Taste. Peter Jackson's movie. I have to make sure that I'm not thinking of something else on. Yeah. And now you're gonna die with that stupid little hat on your head. I know, it's amazing. It just seems like he should not die. But what would you use a telephoto lens like a 7200 for in filming? Filming stuff far away, sports stuff. It's like the go-to lens for sports photographers. I know I should just find a way to deal with this thing, but if I were Akira, I would have this thing pointed at the camera at all times. I mean, I think every time he uses his anamorphic adapter, there's always a flashlight out. Doggone it. What up here? Oh, there we go. I just need a little brain power. Got ourselves a bar. Do you get paid on YouTube? Yes. Do you think Vegas Pro 9 is good for editing videos? Yes, I do. Most of the stuff I do, I use in Vegas Pro 9. In photography and portraits, it's like the ultimate lens. Yeah, there's lenses that are similar, that do the same thing, but they're just not as popular as that lens. But yeah, it's like the lens that you need, the telephoto lens you get for a Canon camera. An 18-200? Is that? Well, that'll work fine if you use it as a variable prime, but is a zoom lens, it's going to be all choppy if you try to zoom while filming, which some people do, some people don't. But if you try to film zooming in with it, even if you stop down, it'd probably have issues. But yeah, it's a good lens. Oh, the Sigma 18-200 is probably better than the Canon one, if in that. Let me look it up. That's the same basic specifications anyway. 3.5 to 6.3. Yeah, no. There's always use for a kit lens in different situations. It's always good to have. And if you don't have any other lenses, then that was a very smoky gun in the Vengeance Rides a Train video, wasn't it? Yes. This one and the other one, if you're talking about the trailer for the second one, yeah, that's all real smoke from these caps. I think these are smoke caps. No, they've got spark caps, but they do more damage. These are the little things that these fire on. I show these sometimes. These little tiny caps. 7mm caps. I wish they made more of these today. They're really useful. Sniper gets paid by Google as well. Does he? On your channel or on a different channel? Must be a different channel then. Do I know what happened to any of the Rainbow Express guys? I would like to find out. I haven't talked to him in a long time. AJ, the director, he has his own band. And he plays gigs a lot in LA. Oh, ajjackson.com. Org. Looks like he does short films and promo videos. He's a real talented guy. I think he's the guy that he actually went to the studios and he stood in for Vigo. Before Lord of the Rings was made, they brought him in as the role that Vigo played, at least temporarily before they shot. They wanted that look, which makes him 100 times cooler than me. He's 100 times cooler than me anyway. As far as that other band, I don't know. Where would one find such caps? You have to order them online. Look for model guns, and you can find caps for them. Oh, hi, Pigeon. Pigeon Tech. A techie pigeon. I like pigeons. I have not known one personally that was involved in much technology. I mean, mostly go whatever that sound they make, and they kind of tilt their head and look at you. But do I live in LA from time to time? Not right now. Optica products, including lenses. I didn't know they made lenses. Let me look at their lenses they have. They're the ones with the slider that somebody sent me before, right? These look just like Rokinon lenses, though. I think they're just rebranded Rokinons. Where's their lenses? Digital film. Yeah, these are just these lenses that they sell, which some of them are good, some of them are bad. I mean, for cheap lenses, they're useful for some things, but these are just rebranded Rokinon lenses. That or they're stealing them. They have it licensed or they're stealing them. Whatever, it's all made in China anyway. But yeah, I've seen a lot of this different kind of stuff under different brands on Amazon and eBay. Oh, you're updating your Google now? Like PC's better than Mac? I guess. That's an argument I don't like to get into because it gets heated. Know of any free solutions to fix rolling shutter problem with DSLRs? I have not watched Entourage. Free solutions? I don't know of anything that's free. I know that there's plugins for just about every single... There might be something for AVI Synth. There might be like a script for AVI Synth that fixes it. I don't know why I haven't watched Entourage. I just haven't watched it. There is a big sensor cam in the form of a Super 8 cam, and but it doesn't have the pixel, the grip. It's the Iconoshop. I'm glad that we have a flare in the video now. That makes the whole scene better. Their A cam. It's like a 16mm cam almost. Let's see, it's got this cool design. Yawny time. Oh, what did I do to my thingamajig? No! Fiddly-doo! Fiddly-doo! See, you can see it here, off in the corner. Or look it up. Icon, A-K-I-O-N-O, SCOP. S-K-O-P. That's kind of like the same thing, and I think they make a pistol grip actually for it. But it's a weird format camera that's kind of like that. I would like to play with one if they fix the issues. No, Rokinon, Optica, Vivitar, Samyang, and Boer are all the same lenses. J.J. Abrams would be proud of that. I'll type it in again. I think I spelled it right. I probably spelled it wrong. Iconoscope. Yeah, I'm sure that stuff is just fine. I mean, a lot of the Rokinon stuff's fine too. I don't know if you're saying they are the same or they aren't the same. Oh, yes. For lenses, their other stuff it probably isn't. I see the lenses: Samyang, Rokinon, Vivitar, Polar, Boer, Optica, Falcon. That is amazing that they all rebrand that thing. Same thing. For a cheap manual lens, I think they do the job, actually. No, it's not cheap. 7,000 euros, yeah. I don't think you can even get them. I'm sure all those lenses are made in the same factory in whatever that place is in China that they make all them things. That one city there that... You think they'd be able to sell that thing cheaper, but... Samyang is made in Korea, but aren't they rebranded the same thing? Samyang has other stuff, I know that. Maybe Samyang only has some things that are... Samyang had that new 35 1.4, right? So maybe some of their stuff isn't rebranded. All that stuff ends up being the same thing. It's confusing. Yeah, Samyang goes. So Samyang probably shares their lines with those other Chinese-made lenses, and then they have their own as well. Though I could be wrong. I mean, I very well could be wrong. I don't know why there has to be 10 million names for them. Really, that flare is kind of small. I would really like a bigger one. I think that's a little bigger. That's better. What is irritating to me right at this moment is that Akira will probably have money fairly soon that he will actually be able to have his own Red 1 MX, since we can't wait for an Epic, and I will not. I've not had a good payday like he is having right now. And you know what? If he gets that, I will be the first to broadcast it live on YouTube from a Red 1 MX. Not the regular Red 1, the one with the MX sensor. That will be a chillin' day. In fact, the day that I broadcast live from a Red 1 MX, I'm going to start talking haughty. You poor plebs, down with your DSLRs. I do not care about any of your problems. You can just go away. I have my Red now. I do not care about any little issue you might be having, because I have the best camera, and you do not. At this time, I don't have the best camera. I'm going to order a Rokinon 8mm fisheye and MK. That's good. Those are good lenses for cheap. 8mm fisheye. You can throw it on just about anything. MKE 400, isn't that the Sennheiser? Okay, here's the thing with that. You have to figure, what are you going to do with that microphone? Now, if you put a shotgun mic on a mic, the real only useful distance of a shotgun mic is 6 inches away from the person that's talking. A shotgun mic, let's see if I have one somewhere. I know I have one close. I'll show you the way that you should use a shotgun mic. So getting a mic to put on top of your camera really doesn't do you a whole lot of good, because here's the way that a shotgun mic should be used. And this is a cheap one. I don't recommend this one. This is a little Osden SGM2X. I've had it forever. I think you can get them for like $200. It's what I have close nearby. It's what I will use. A microphone, a boom mic, like this, should be used no further than right out of frame. So the best place to boom is from above and no further than 6 inches away. Second best place is to boom from below the shot, from 6 inches away. If this is sitting on the camera, it's not going to do me any good. It's not going to pick up anything more than, really, it'll be slightly more focused than another mic, but it won't be worth the time and the money for it. You're better off getting a wireless system and putting a wireless mic, or this isn't wireless, I'm wired in right now, but so I don't have a wireless mic, I gotta buy me a new one. But yeah, that is what a boom mic is useful and used for. Oh, you're filming skateboarders with fisheye, so you have to be as close as possible. Well, I mean, it doesn't make a bad option just to put on there, but don't expect really great results with just a mic on top of the camera. But, I mean, if it is an improvement over the built-in mic in the camera. So, if you're not thinking that you're going to pick up stuff far away, that's good. Because it really, they don't pick up off-axis very well. It has to be pointed directly at the source. Otherwise, it sounds... When something sounds off mic, I wish I could hook this one up instead and show you what it sounds like. It sounds like you'll hear more bass than the mid-tones. You really tell the difference between here, and here, and here, and here, when it's not pointed directly at the mouth. It needs to be up high, pointed directly at someone's mouth to pick up the best sound possible. A man of many voices. I wish I could do more. That would be awesome. Tula is drunk. I'm very happy that Tula is drunk. Now we will get drunk together and we will have a good time. Am I good at spinning the gun? I don't think so. Osden SMX10. The Osden mics are usually quiet. I wouldn't recommend the one I have. It's really noisy because it doesn't put out a good signal. The best mics need phantom power to run. The ones that use battery power are usually too quiet. They'll be really noisy and you need to boost them up in post. What do I do for a living? I'm doing it right now, bro. No, I do this, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm actually, if you've watched a documentary on my life, it was called Deuce Bigalow. Yeah, that was actually a documentary. Is that a real revolver? No. I need help. When it say to pass it to a website, how do I pass it to YouTube? I don't know. I need more info to help you out with that. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of what you're thinking of, but man, now we've got a nice flare going on. We've got a very nice flare, and we've got a Model 29 revolver. I mean, can this live stream get better? It needs more flares. Bang, bang. Bang, bang. Bang, bang. Bang, 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 bang. Bop, bing, boop, bop. Google AdSense. Hire J.J. Abrams, yes. Yeah, that's all the banging. That's a lot of banging. That was banging good. That's the 357 from Dirty Harry. Yeah, but it's got a longer barrel. This is the 8-inch barrel. Dirty Harry only used the 6-inch barrel, I think, in most of his. Maybe in the beginning of Magnum Force, he used the 8-inch. It's hard to see the contrast. 6 inches like here, 8-inch. Yeah, it's the same gun that he used. Most powerful handgun in the world. I would have to look at what you're saying in AdSense to figure out what you used to be talking about. Why not sell your DSLRs and stuff and get an AF 101? It's a cool camera. I could have that right now if I wanted to, but I mean, that really wouldn't be a problem to procure that camera. I just haven't decided what I want to do. I haven't decided, well, and I don't know what other DSLRs are coming out soon either. So, I don't know. There might be a hack for that camera. If it had a different firmware update and it made me really happy, I would get that camera and get more micro four thirds lenses. But heck, I could sell all my stupid model guns and buy a AF 100 with all the stupid model guns I have laying around here. But well, back in the 70s, that gun was the most powerful handgun in the world. There is a code that I have to paste. Oh, to your website? Yeah. You need to paste that code into your HTML. You need to work in the actual HTML of your web page to be able to paste that code. And there's certain guidelines on where you can place ads on your page, and depends on what type of page you have. But if you've already been, if they've allowed you to have AdSense, placing those ads can work. It depends on if you blog or regular website. What you need to do is paste that code into the HTML. Though you can't paste the code into a WYSIWYG editor where you see it what's already been formatted. You have to paste it into the source. Yeah, the HMC 150 is a great camera. I mean, I've used that. I love it. It has got a great interface, but it's got very tiny chips. So I would not trade your 60D and your DVX 100 for an HMC 150. It is a very good camera, though. I will say that. Yeah, this is a, I don't know what y'all are arguing about specifically. Steadicam with a 300mm lens isn't going to happen. You aren't going to be able to hold that steady. It needs to be on a tripod if you're going 300mm lens. But yeah, this is a Model 2944 Magnum. Magnum, as Clint says.
Magnum. 44 Magnum.
And at the time, it was the most powerful handgun in the world, and it could blow your head clean off. Well, actually, I don't think it could blow your head clean off, but it would sure make a mess of it. For skating, yeah. Well, for skating in HMC 150, I mean, it's always during the day, always in bright light, has quick and fast autofocus for that stuff. You can just slap a fisheye on it. Yeah, it would probably be better for that. Easier to work on the cards, easier to edit, easier to deal with in general with batteries, longer lasting batteries. No overheating with 60D out in the day like that, running all day might overheat. So 2:45 a.m. No, it's only 11:46 p.m. Have you decided what you want to do? I want to take a ride on the Rainbow Express. Take a ride. Forever alone? No. You may be forever alone, but I'm forever Stallone. Y'all see that prank that was played? They did. It was the Forever Alone prank where they got the guys on the dating site to show up in New York. It was kind of a bomb anyway. I wish it would have been closer to me. That way I could have shown up and then I had a homemade Forever Alone shirt and started dancing. I think that would have been awesome. Drink with me, man. I'm killing this bottle of red wine. I don't got nothing to drink. I got water. Ooh, down the hatch. What I really need is some Santana DVX. That's my joint. But a lot of you busses don't know about that. Indeed, Crystal Geyser. I just like sat and paused. What cereal do I prefer? This is the most interesting question I've been asked in the past 2 minutes. Right now, my favorite is the new cinnamon Chex. Those are really good. In fact, that sounds like something I want to stop a live stream right now for. Go and eat a bowl of cinnamon Chex. Any time of the day, cinnamon Chex are good. The light adds production value. I agree. We need more of them. This one is going to run out of batteries and cost me $1 million to replace. Actually, it won't cost me $1 million, but this one's like way too intense. Maybe if it was like a backlight. I need a big backlight here. No, I'll leave that one up there. It's doing its job. How do you get into the HTML? It depends on what editor you're using. Are you blogging, man? Are you pouncing away in Dreamweaver? When you go up to edit, view source in whatever browser you're using, or right-click and view page source, that is where your code needs to go. You need to be able to edit the source code of the page and dump it in your body section somewhere. Blog, okay. Depending on the type of blog that you're using, I use WordPress, and WordPress has the ability to go in there and change your code. If you're using Blogger, I haven't used Blogger for that, but just do a search on how to access the source code. But that's where that code, it goes in there. That, or sometimes you can get like an AdSense widget thing to download. So if you're using WordPress, you can actually download an AdSense app that will place the ads automatically for you. But the only way that I could really show you is if I had the computer hooked up to the screen, and then I broadcast the screen live, and I could actually show you step by step. I'm gonna be like really horrible being able to tell you stuff like that live. Yeah, isn't the line cool? Isn't it? I think it's how far ahead. It always stays ahead of my hand. As long as I don't cut it off, it should always be in front of other subjects. Isn't that cool? So you would think that it lives in its own space. You would think that it lives back here when you're looking at it back here, but it actually lives way up there. How far up there does it live? Does it live? It's fairly far. Fairly far. It lives inside the lens. See? Neat, huh? I can't block off the light rays going to it, otherwise it won't do that. What is that light for? It is for anamorphizing. You see this wide angle lens we got here? This is the only live anamorphic show you're going to see on YouTube. I guarantee it. Not all anamorphic flares are blue, and this one only is blue. It depends on the color of the light. So this is 3200. No, that's not 3200 Kelvin. That's like 5600 Kelvin. In daylight, though, it changes. Depends on the intensity of the light and the coating on the front of the lens. Changes the flares. So that's why older lenses flare more. So if you get a Lomo, Lomos have lots of flare, and they've got lots of internal flare as well. Nose itching. Internal flare causes a loss of contrast. So let's say the black behind me here, if this was more of a Lomo lens, then you would see that turning grayish on the sides over here. Where's the side? This side, this side. Be more grayish because it would be the internal lens coating that had that. But flare colors depends on the color of the light and the coating on the lens, the anamorphic lens itself. And you only get flares with a front anamorphic lens. A rear anamorphic lens that sits at the back of a lens will not flare in the same way. I'm blue. Actually, I probably can't sing that song, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Dabba dee, dabba die. Do I believe in dragons? Man, I wish I could find a dragon with the heart of a man. Heart of a man with the body of a dragon. You believe Sean Connery was a dragon? Who's the man now, dog? Who's the man now, dog? Who's the man now, dog? Actually, I honestly believe that Sean Connery probably is a dragon, and he changes into that at night and flies all around Scotland as a dragon. And his girlfriend is Nessie. Have I ever seen a ghost? Nope. I'm shooting with a Bosch and Loam anamorphic, and my flares are always blue, so I was just curious. Some lenses are like that. On the it really depends on the age and where you use it. Typically, most of the LA 7200 flares are blue. Nice and blue for most light. We have a lot of people watching tonight. I'm actually fairly surprised. Maybe it's because we're doing it earlier and we're not in the middle of the night, because sometimes we'll go like in the middle of the night. Uh-oh. Tula's sad. Somebody better make Tula feel better. Is the 14140 worth $500 more than the 1442? Yes, it is. You can't beat the 14140 with anything. The 14140 is the best lens, DSLR lens for video, bar none of all of them. Nothing compares to that. Man, now I just screwed up my phone. Oh well. Well. Where did I say I got the gun again? This I got from a Private Punchy on eBay. I don't think he sells these anymore. But it is a old model gun. They are model guns. They are cap guns. realistic cap guns. Oh, the wine's gone. Dude, you need another bottle. Though I don't want to be appearing to support public or private drunkenness. Oh, yes, I am. But yeah, if you're just... some people don't like the 14-140 because they think it's too expensive, but it's really worth the cost of it. It's a very, very nice lens, and I guarantee that you will use it often. It is like... It's a very heavenly lens. It's slow, yes, but it is an amazing lens for the price, for its optical stabilization. I think the best optical stabilization I've ever seen. I just threw my old VX1000 in the toilet just now. Cool. I'm glad I'm not broadcasting with a VX1000. I would like to have one of those. I would put that on my wall if I had a VX1000. They are a very weird looking camera. I wonder if the GH2 will be $399 in another 6 months. If there's a GH4, so what did it take? It took 18 months from June to July, August, September, October, November, December. 6 plus 12, 18. Yeah. 18 months from January, so that puts you maybe July of next year. Could be $399. I would bet. How much did this gun cost? I think this one was cheaper. This one was probably like $150 or so. This is the cheapest model gun that I own. What am I broadcasting with? A DVX 100 with an LA 7200. Trying to find an all-around lens for sports. Well, then you're probably talking about a long lens. If you're on Canon, it'll be 70 to 200, or if you want longer, it's going to be... You can get one of them Sigma 150 to 500 lenses. Those are still fairly reasonable in the $1,000 range. I think modelguns.co.uk. Model Gun Forums. MP40 Model Gun Forums. That's where I used to look stuff up. I think there's a buy and sell place in there too. It's all my model guns. I think are MGC's. Model Gun Corporation, Japan. Buy, sell, model gun. They have some very, very expensive stuff. My Thompson, my full auto Thompson was the most expensive at $700 and some odd dollars. But you can get all sorts of cool stuff like AKs, and a lot of people get MP40s. They're very cool. Thought that was a buy-sell forum. I'm looking for something to sell so I can give you a price. Well, I guess they go on eBay if they don't get canceled. Since I just jumped in here, do you mind giving me a quick down low on the channel? Pimp name is Professor Big Spender. Yeah, well, tonight's topic was about the new hack for the GH1. We talked about cameras, we talked about movies, we talked about all different sorts of things, but here's a hacked GH1, and we're talking about the new, my last video that I uploaded before this, I uploaded a clip of the hacked GH1. Oh, we've been broadcasting for 3 hours now. Hacked GH1 versus the GH2. So I've got a clip of that, so we were talking about that. Non-IS Sigma, it's around 950. Would take a Sigma 7200 over the 2.8. Unless 18200 is 2.8. A Sigma 7200 2.8 is a better lens. The Sigma 18200 is not. It's one of those super zoom lenses. No, the Sigma 7200 is a much better lens than the 18-200. But the 18-200 is like a kit lens. It's a daylight kit lens that stops down to like f6.3. It's not a best lenses for video and in general, but are the constant aperture lenses. What else? What do you think of the N Cinema 35 adapter? It has been a long time since anybody's asked me about one of these. Oh, Vid Atlantic makes it? I've got that other thing. I don't know. I haven't seen the results of it. If it's cheap, you could try it. I mean, they make a lot of... It's fairly cheap, isn't it? Typically, you want ones that have moving ground glass for those things. Boy, it has been a long time since anybody's asked me about cinema adapters. It's worth the try, I would say. If Sniper? Did Sniper ask a question? Sniper? What? No, maybe not. Usually the hackable GH1s are sold online as hackable GH1s, and they typically fetch around $450 more for the body alone. So you want on eBay used $450 for a hackable GH1. That's because lens adapters are dead, according to LinkMaster, and that they pretty much are. You might be able to get a good deal on someone trying to get rid of Elitis Extreme, or any of those high-end ones would be a better choice. But I don't know if people are truly still getting... If I could get one cheap enough, I would put a stupid one on the DVX, and then we'll broadcast in anamorphic from the DVX with a 35mm adapter attached. That would be hilarious. But I want one of them. If I had one, I'd want the big one, the Big Daddy, the P+S Technic adapter, like that $7,000 35mm adapter. And you're talking big money. It's a big old beast. Actually, that would make my DVX 100 look pretty impressive if it had an adapter on it. While I'm at it, I should. What I really want is I want one of them hacked DVX 100s still. They used to have a hack. What it did is it ran a USB cable out to a Mac Mini, and that recorded uncompressed from a DVX 100. That was before the HVX came out. It was pretty awesome. Tula is too drunk, but I'm pretty. He is pretty, he is saying. So, that is good. A good place to find lens adapters used. DVX user leadus. Just search DVX user in the marketplace for someone that's reliable. Someone's selling one for a DVX 100. Oh, he sold it on eBay. For sale. I want to find out how much they're going for. I really want to know more search tools past week. Leadus Extreme Cavision rails, FD and EOS Canon mount, and a Canon 50mm 1.8 for $450. 400 shipped. Can't beat that price. If it's real. I'm searching for you. A Cinemac G35 for $1,100. Oh, that's a bit more expensive. Typically, they're sorted into any used Steadicam. Sometimes they have used Steadicams in there. They're not going to be cheap. What's going on in the chat? I don't know. Torical. Zombies on Ascension. Oh, and Blops. When I was 12, all we had was VHS camera. Actually, we didn't have toys when I was a kid. All we had was little toy cans on strings. It was like a privilege for me to use my grandpa's VHS camcorder. Actually, then I got to play with the high 8 camera. High 8 camera blew my mind. That came next. But otherwise, I don't know. If there's not a whole lot more questions, we've been broadcasting now from this location for 3 hours, 19 minutes. We might end it. I had a full auto Thompson. I've got a model gun full auto Thompson, and it's not within the reach. I've had it out before. The one that's on, if you search my page for Vengeance Rides a Train 2, episode trailer 2, I've got it. If you watch The Milkman, it's got it in it. People ditching the camera with you stinks. I hate when someone just hands me a camera and expects me to take a picture of your group. Oh, you knew all about cameras, just take a picture. I know all about cameras, but I can't milk gold or milk out of your Pixie cam. Ugh. No, I will. Okay, here's another question. Are there any hacks or workarounds for the Canon T1i that you know of other than exposure lock? No, I don't think there's going to be any more hacks for that. Unfortunately, it's locked with that weird 20 frame per second mode, so it's kind of like, yeah, there really isn't, which is disappointing because it should have the same video quality as the T2i, honestly. It is cheap though, but I know Canon has their trade-in program. You might look into that or sell it on eBay and upgrade to a T2i. But yeah, there isn't going to be any more work on a T2i. We've actually gained more people viewing. Hey, new people out there. I know I want to end this, but I don't know why there's still like 20 people watching. That's surprising. Yeah, sorry about the camera thing. I know it's kind of disappointing, but there isn't any more hacks for that. And I don't think anybody else is working on that. Don't end it yet, Torkel says. Let's say we go to 12:30 my time, so another 15 minutes. Well, we're gaining more people like crazy.
Gaining people like crazy? What is happening? I do not understand. They're growing and growing and growing.
And then they left. And then they come back.
Get to the chopper! Get to the chopper! Get to the chopper!
We had 22 for a minute there. Now we're back down to 20. By the time you see it, it'll be 7 seconds later, so who knows? I can't tell you in real time how many we have unless I talk to you.
Maria! Maria! Oh, Maria, how I love you. Why are you leaving me, Maria? Why are you going to leave me? You can't leave me like this. I want to have a baby. I want to have Junior too. We need to have more children together. That's why I'm back home with you. Maria, let me tell you about the first time that I saw you. Oh, I fell so in love with you and your big jaw. I was like, oh, Maria, I've got to have you. I was thinking, Maria, you're the greatest thing in the world to me. I wanted to take you out to have a pizza with me, but I didn't want to eat the pizza because pizza would make me fat. And I want to keep the big muscles, so what I did is I injected the steroids and then I took you out to the pizza parlor. And at the pizza parlor we had such a great time. I looked at you and I started laughing, ha 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 ha, and you said, but you see, Maria, I love you so much. I don't want you to leave me. We had these beautiful children together, even the fat one, even he is beautiful too. But Maria, you've got to understand that our love for each other, it goes beyond just this universe. It expands beyond. It's important everywhere. Someday when the aliens come down from outer space, they're going to want to meet the first people of the world. And we're going to be the only ones left. You know why? Because we're so strong. Maria, I'm telling you, this is a love letter to you. I love you so much. You cannot leave me. What am I going to do without you? I've had you as my wife for so long. I did not cheat on you.
Wow. Can we just ask any questions? No, you can ask any old question, you know. Yay, it's Norway National Day today. Well, he's got a chubbier kid. I'm sure it's not going to last long. I'm just being... I was thinking about the Nikon Coolpix P500. Would you say that's a good choice? That's one of them dinky cams. Usually Nikon makes pretty good little No, it's not a dinky cam, is it? Coolpix got big. When you do that, you got all big and growed up on me. I'm sure it's just a fine DSLR. Let's see. For $400 though, does it have a removable lens? No, it doesn't. Well, I guess it has a 36x zoom in it. Coolpix used to be so small. Yeah, if you need something that's got a built-in lens, I'm sure that would work fine. I don't know a whole lot about it, but you're awful close to DSLR range there. $5D Mark III news. Nope, none. Tamron 17-50 is an excellent lens. It's in my recommended list for all them cameras. It's like a very good video-oriented f2.8 all the way zoom. It's like my #1 lens recommendation in my videos. So yes, go ahead and get that if you're thinking about it. It's a good lens if you need in that range. I don't know when I'm live streaming again, but I should put up a schedule of it. But I can't pronounce your name 1701, but adios. How good are those cheap eBay Hypergonar lenses? I imagine you're talking about anamorphic lenses. They are pretty awful, actually. I guess if you get one cheap enough, you can play with it, but don't expect great results out of it. It's going to be kind of annoying. A fun toy to play with, but very hard to get good results. Maybe if you're filming someone in the next room, but yeah, they're heavy. You probably need a clamp if you get that, and they're 2x, so you're going to need to chop off the sides or have it really, really dinky wide. AR-4216. It's a bummer that Canon and Panasonic still are the only real DSLR choices. Wish Olympus and Samsung would come up with something. They don't have high-end video cameras to protect. Same for Nikon. That's true. I give Olympus probably the best bet of the next one to jump in if they try to jump in. But Nikon needs to hire new people, and they can do it. Their current teams suck. I hope some of you are... they're all Japanese anyway. They're not watching, nor are they understanding. But they really need to get a clue. I like Nikon processing. I like their color processing. I like their controls. I like the bodies that they make, and I even like their lenses. So I would gladly take a Nikon DSLR that could actually shoot decent video. In fact, just match the GH2 and they will sell 1 billion of the cameras, because Panasonic doesn't know how to market a camera. So if Nikon made the GH2, they would sell 1 billion of them, because they're in Best Buy and every other store. In fact, you know what Nikon should do? Nikon should buy Panasonic's DSL division, not DSLR, but their still camera division. Slap their names on it, change the processing to make it look like Nikon, and sell the cameras like that, and share the profits with Panasonic. If they split the profits with Panasonic, Panasonic would still make 10 times the amount of money that they make now. Just have like a line of, they call it Nikon Micro Four Thirds. Do you live near the ocean? Oh, ocean? Do you live near the ocean? Just have like a line of, call it Nikon. I think that's just the mic noise that you hear. The mic's been through a lot. This mic I've hung out the back of my M Coupe to try to record the exhaust noise from the exhaust. That wasn't such a great idea. The mic has got a little jiggly problem with the cable from then on. One day I thought it was a good idea. Let's drive 100 miles an hour with a lav mic hanging out the back of the car. You know, instead of recording under the engine, so... Yeah. And you know what? It sounded terrible. There's still a bunch of wind noise. What state do I live in? Oh,
I would always live in the state of California. When I first arrived in Hollywood, all I had was my duffel bag and my muscles. It was my duffel bag and my muscles. Muscles.
why does Nikon keep shooting themselves in the foot with video? I really don't know. They'd be really odd. You're gonna find me. I got so many addresses though that it's hard to find me. Adios 114184.
See you on the dark side.
Transformers! I live in North California. Cool. As do I. Right this minute. I spend my time between the Bay Area and Sacramento. And sometimes LA. Cool. What's cool in the Bay Area is, like, honestly, if I put my L bracket thing on my, like, $7 L bracket, where'd you go? Come here, yo. Where'd my L? Here it is. If I put a camera on the L bracket and walk around in, like, downtown Mountain View, you get, like, everyone asking you what camera is that. It's like the weirdest thing. It's cool though. I mean, you enjoy it. West Side. Humboldt to shoot some freestyle motocross. Love it up there. I shot motocross, AMA motocross, supercross, arena cross for the Speed Channel. I've done it a couple of years, 3 years in a row, 2 years, 2 or 3 years. Other stuff. That's always fun. I enjoy that. What type of socks do you have? That is a good question. You know, I wear usually black, but those gold toe socks, whatever them are, they're my favorite. I always wear them. Always. For a film, 24 Phipps is the best Phipps. But if you're filming something that needs to be in slow motion or TV or action stuff, all sports stuff is usually shot at 60 frames per second. So that's cool. Yeah, shooting motocross stuff is fun. I enjoy it. That's when I usually shoot with HG250, the JVC HG250. That's a popular camera for Speed Channel. So no, that's cool. But yeah, what are we getting to? We're getting 12:25. 5 minutes left. 5 minutes. Buy a 550 Canon for HD video, but I've always been a Nikon fan. So is there anything that comes near the 550 from any other company shooting HD video for around the same money? Hold on. I think my number one recommendation now comes into tune. Wait a minute. Well, how much does the 550D cost? Let's make sure. Oh, T2. Yeah, this is T2i price. Seriously, both. The GH2 is so close to getting hacked now, it's been reversed. If you're getting it for video alone, and pretty doggone decent stills at the same time, just get a Panasonic GH2. You seriously won't be disappointed. Even against the 600D, get this. For video, those cameras will not beat this. When it gets to stills performance, when you get up into higher ISOs, I'm not sure that the 600D or the 550D T2i or T3i will beat this. How far it takes to beat this, but in low ISOs, this will hang pretty tight. So, but if you want video, honestly, this is your best option. Do those GH2 fit Canon lenses? Yes, if you're talking about FD lenses, you get an FD adapter. If you're talking about EOS lenses, if you have... Now, the reason why you wouldn't want this is if you have a lot of electronic L lenses. Well, if you have L lenses, you're not going to buy a T3i. But if you have a lot of electronic... Let's say you have an expensive lens even. If you have a Canon 17-55 2.8, which is like $1,100, you're not going to buy this because electronically you are not going to be able to control it unless you buy a $700 electronic adapter. Though I've thought of ways to make it electronically work, I have not done it. Well, I haven't really figured it out. Well, I was thinking it was a potentiometer on the side of a dumb adapter, and then that feeding into the lens. If I could just figure out, if I could just get f-stops to move up and down for an electronic EOS lens, I think it would be worth a fortune. But then you go and have it manufactured in China, it's going to be stolen. Yada yada. GH1 is a great camera as well. GH1 is a great still and video camera if you get a hacked one. But it's still a fantastic little camera. It is. I do enjoy it. Still performance is not as good as the GH2 though, but it is a great camera. And tonight is the GH1 night, since I think officially now this is probably about the highest sustained bitrate, at least for AVC HD on this guy of any of the still cameras. 100 megabits on a hacked GH1. Impressive. GF1, not so much. GF1 has an even tinier sensor. It's a good camera. If you get it at a cheap enough price and you use it with, where's my 20? A GF1 can make good video, and you combine it with this little guy, the 20mm Pancake O, and you can take some excellent pictures. It is a good camera. I think the price is so close between that and a GH1, I would easily take a GH1 over a GF1. But again, I know most people have not even seen these because they don't have them in stores. They don't, unless you go to some high-end photography shop, they're not going to have anything 4/3. Most people are going to Fry's or Best Buy or Walmart or Kmart even, or Target, and finding DSLRs there. I think you can get a T2i at Kmart now, so that I know you can get them at Target. So my cat just stole my tripod. That's a pretty strong cat, depending on the size of your tripod. rolling shutters more extreme on those cameras, that would make sense to me. I forget about that at times. But depending on what you're filming, rolling shutter could be a big issue. It's not everybody's just filming films. If you're filming sports, sideways, moving objects are not particularly cool. Can't get it to work. I'm sorry, Sniper. I don't know what to tell you. I'd have to see it to understand. But remember, even after you put it in, there is if you just started an AdSense account, it can take a while to go through. But your best bet would be post on one like the AdSense forum, Google AdSense forum, the official Google one. Tell them your problem, list your problem, and possibly they can help you. Because I don't know what blog software you're working. So you're saying the GH1 for video or the GH2? Well, even with its high-end super hacked bitrate, the GH1 is cool with that, but it doesn't top the GH2. Maybe in motion. Okay, there's one time where a GH1 will top a hacked GH1 will top a GH2. That's only in 1080p mode. Even though 720p mode's hacked as well, 720p mode isn't as sharp as 720p mode on GH2. But if you're shooting 1080p near desk, this camera will do it better than the GH2 right now until the GH2 is hacked. And that's because there's a slight bug that can sometimes cause a little bit of blockiness when underexposed. It's rare, but it does happen on occasion. What about the G3? G3 sucks. The G3's got terrible... G3 is an abomination. It's like they added it's only got the video modes that like the Sony NEX cameras have. NEX or NEX cameras. Anyway, they're all 1080i. They're all 17 megabit. It's got the AVC HD light in it, so it sucks. It will only be useful if hacked, but don't expect it to be. Cat's knocking at the door. What do it do? Let it in. Okay. What? He's kind of remind me. We are going to end it now. Oh, one more thing. MP4 podcast dude sent me a message. There's a program for if you have an iPhone. I haven't tested it out yet. I need to remember my password. Filmic Pro will let you shoot. You can't see it. Filmic Pro. I'll write it down. Multiple frame rates, like 1 to 24p and then 30p as well. And you can lock it in, lock your exposure, and use this. This is probably now the best small camera. If you want a small camera, this thing with that type of control makes it better than, well, it doesn't do 60p, but probably the best small camera. It will defeat now all those little ones, including a ZI-8. Even at 720p with manual controls and manual frame rate, that is the bomb. Android phones need that program. Hopefully they'll get like a port of that. Anyway, we will end it now. So as per always, usual, we will zoom in and we will go Inception. Inception. And we're still holding the Inception. GH1 is a great camera for filming basketball games, and that will be my last comment in there, because it's got a very good 720p mode as well when it's hacked. Good night.